Hello, my friends. Hope you have a great day. And today I just want to give you an overview about how the new Copilot Studio looks like. So you can already see on my screen, I have opened both versions. So the one which you most probably know if you work with Copilot Studio on the left side here. Let me just give in here my cursor so you can see that. So on the left side, on the right side, we see the new Copilot Studio, which have been introduced during Microsoft Build this week. I want to make a short comparison. So what has changed? So you will see the UI changes here. So that shall be a short video about that. And I would say, let's start. So if you're starting Copilot Studio, the more or less the legacy version, let's call it like that, then the first thing which you just see is in the URL, there was always that web.power VA, so that stands for Power Virtual Agents, .microsoft.com, and then the environment and the environment you've been. That has changed now with a new address. So this is the new Copilot Studio.microsoft.com. So that's why you can still open both versions. Not sure how long the legacy one will be there, but I'm sure it will be there for a while because this is now new and it might be that they're still not running everything that smooth. So what you also see is the menu has changed a bit. So what you can just do is here you can click on the three stripes here and then you have it a little bit smaller like this. So, and then you also see that it's also some kind of slick, but if you just click on this one, you just open this one up, it's more readable. It changed a bit here. So first of all, the Copilot is here now an on button. That was also an on button as well. It has now a changed icon here, as you can see. If you click directly on the plus button, then you can automatically start with creating a new Copilot. So previously you had to go in here, or you just click on create a custom Copilot, etc. So what you can also see what have changed is now Microsoft just has integrated like everywhere in the Power Platform. You can now describe your Copilot with wordings, use Copilot in that case, and then it just automatically creates you your board. So instead of the old-fashioned way, just click on the custom Copilot and then use then the Copilot builder internally there. You can now use this one here directly and it automatically creates, a Copilot. It also gives you some kind of help, like, do you want to create it for a help desk or an expense tracking or HR and benefit, etc., etc. So this is now in alignment with other areas in the Power Platform. So example for the Power Apps in the Maker environment or Power Pages, for example, or Power Automate as well. So this is the first thing. What you already see is if you make it small like me in that moment, so you see that it's currently not working or doesn't look nicely because this is the background picture here and it just overlaps in here. When I make this here a little bit bigger, then you see that it just works a little bit better in that case. So, but this is something, that is a minor thing if you ask me. So let us just, change back to, so we do have then both windows there in that case. So what is new is also you see something like library here. What you don't see here in that case, you do have an extend button here. So, but we will check that out step by step in that case. So first of all, let's go and click, just see here in the middle, it's more or less the same. You do have your recent projects here. What is new is here now that you also see, I have, for example, opened Copilot for Microsoft 365, which has been there now alongside with Copilot for Sales, and we will see that as well. So you see you have your learning resources here. You have the learning resources as well. You can start with a template here. So not major changes. So the major change here in that case, if you ask me, this area in that case. So now let's go and for our Copilot. So if I click on Copilot, this is where I usually come in and then I can manage my Copilots. I can create a new Copilot. I can import a Copilot. So if I click here on create, that's more or less the same. So the new Copilot, for example, is the same like this. It's now a tile. You can also create automatically now a new Microsoft Copilot action here. So actions are now out of preview in that window in that, and you do have your template here, which is more helpful. If you click here on Copilots, you will see then more or less the same here. So you have new Copilot here as well, an import Copilot. So the UI has changed a little bit. What is new now is that you can see now Copilot for Microsoft 365 and Copilot for Sales. So in terms of, and that is what Microsoft had made advertisement for, is you want to extend Copilots. You want to customize other Copilots. You want to change the behavior of that. So now finally you can just use this. You could also partly do it with extend the preview here, but this goes now into the direction which Microsoft has pictured us, long time ago. So I want to start first of all with one which I have just built. This is languages. If I click on this one, I click on languages on this side as well. So what is changing now is you see now here you have on the left side everything on menu. So you have your topics, generative AI, actions, entities, and so on and so on. So because this is now that small, you don't see that quite well in that case. So that's why allow me that I make it a little bit bigger so we can just see what the changes are. So you don't see in that case the changes here anymore. So you see all your Copilot in that case. You see now if you have a Copilot like languages now opened here, you see now everything in that area. So you have now the topics here. And that also, it hasn't changed so much. It's just a little bit nicer. So if you click on system once and I click on the conversation start, then I will see now my developed or little developed Copilot or topic here in that case. So what's also new is that you can see now the language bot is now here. So if we just change that now and have a look here in that case, I can also make that big for a moment. You see that the bot was always beside the menu here, and then you had your all actions here. So if I click now on topics and just go in here to my conversation start, then you see in that case my tree. So the tree hasn't changed that much. So you have still, your buttons here like edit with Copilot. So if I click on this, you see this one. You can see your variables here, which I just have used in that topic. You could have also some analytics. I would wonder if you see some analytics before, because I have never really used that. And you can see other details then in that case. So how the name is and what are your input parameters or variables and output variables in that case. Good. So let me just change back here and go now to the other Copilot. So as you can see, when I'm using something like this, at least I can see my Copilot. But if I use it like that, I don't see, my chatbot in that case. So let me just also use and make it a little bit bigger so we can also see that. So that is currently on the left side. But when you just interact with that, then it suddenly jumps also in the middle. So I think this is some kind of a little UI thing at the moment. So let me just make it bigger, smaller. So currently it stays like that. So you have your language bot here in that case. And if I'm just, adding now here my, I want to change that bot and the behavior. So I change it now to German in that case. So if I just do this like this, then you have the chance to switch to German. And then the bot will be, executed in German in that case. So you don't see really something incredible here. The only thing, and that's why you have all that variables here and also a little bit of PowerFX magic. I'm just changing only the name of that. So previously you only had that in English version. So if you change it completely, so with some JSON magic and PowerFX magic in the background, then I can also change it like that. So this is how it looks like. So what is new now is you do have now your Copilot is, the same here in that case. You can put in some comments, which is also not new. You have your variables here, which is also new. The topic checker is not somewhere on the top, so it's now integrated here. So currently, no errors, and this is also the same what we have seen here as well. So you have your analytics. What you can just do is open code editor. If you click on this, so this is YAML. This is very useful, and I will also make a video in the future about that as well to explain what you can just do with that. So, and you can just reset to default. And as you can see now, I have switched back, and now it's not on the left side attached, it's somewhere in the middle. So These are the little nice things which I'm pretty sure Microsoft will work on. So this is corrected and then will work in the future in every browser and every operating system. As I'm using currently a Mac to record that session here. Good. So you do have a settings. If you go to settings, then in that case, you also come to that, what I was searching for example, for entities. Here you have your entities, which you had in the old one as well. You have your skills, you have your languages, which you can just add. This is the language understanding. So if you want to use the standard NLU model, which is coming out of the box, if you want to use a conversational language understanding, so you want to deploy another LLM in that case, then you can just use it. And what is also new is you do have security. Our security just looks like the other ones as well. But there will be also an update in terms for security for Copilot Studio as well. I'm also curious about as well. Once ready, then I will just check that with you. So you see generative AI in that case here. It's looked a little bit differently because you don't have everything there. You have AI integration tools, which is also there, and Copilot details in that case. So nothing more has changed. So that has now under the umbrella settings. It was also partly, and I'm just switching back now to English. In that case, you can just do that easily and comfortable by clicking on that switch button. And if I'm just going back, we can see that kind of settings was previously here. You have your Copilot details here, AI integration tools, the channels, customer engagement hub, security skills. So partly of that are not, it seems like they're not there, but they are sometimes on other places, which we will also see once I'm just going back to this. So what is now interesting in that case is what's also new is, so actions is not in preview anymore. So it's now in GA. So last week when I just had a video on that actions was still in preview. So this is now out of, and it can be, Microsoft say you can now use it with our clients as well, which is great. Good. Let me just switch back to this window because this is the most interesting part where we want to deep dive into this. What is new now? So you have actions here. You can just click on actions, and actions also looks a little bit, more fancy from a UI perspective, but it is still more or less the same. So if you click on this, you see now step one, for example, if I want to get a row from Excel, or if I want to use Dataverse, I can click on Dataverse. Or I just need to deselect everything and then Dataverse and select it. So currently I don't have anything there. Let's say what I have on flow. So I do have a translation flow, for example. If I click on this one, then I can click on next. Then I see I have some variables which I want to translate. And these are my inputs. And then if I would click on finish, then I would have then an action which I can then use. So that translation flow is something which I just have used with the Canvas app in a different project. Good. Now, let's see when this is finished. So currently everything is grayed out. In the meanwhile, while we're still waiting here, let me just return back to this one. And you still see, here, it still says the button in the preview, but here it doesn't show you anymore in preview. So click on this one. This UI is a little bit nicer because you see then step by step in that case how that works. So if I would do the same here, with translation, let me see and search for that. If I can find that. Just shows me everything what I didn't want. I can click on here and I say, okay, just go away with everything else. Flows, translation flows. Here we are. And he would do now more or less than the same. So now I'm getting an error message that can have, multiple reasons. The most probable reason why I can't do this in that case is because I'm currently operating on the same language bot, and that's why maybe this is not working. As you can see now, this has been now added previously by the other one. That's why I just got an error message. So let me just go back here in that case to my new Copilot again. Here we go. And you see this is now there. You still see sometimes that preview. I'm pretty sure this will also be worked on, and then we can just see how that works. So the translation flow would not really help me in that case. I just have added that now for fun, just to show you how it works. What is new is knowledge. This is new. So now you can just click here, and now you can just add knowledges here. So previously, and that's why, let me just go back from here for a moment, and let me just go to settings and go here to generative AI. So previously, you added your sources, for example, here. No? So this is the general adding of the source if you want. So if Copilot cannot find anything, that could have been always used as a fallback. But if I'm just going now in here and just go to sources and click on this button here, you see now that you do have now your public websites here. Then you have your files. So that was the 3 megabyte file, a Word file, which you can just upload and can also use as a source. It's still 3 megabyte. Let's see when this will be extended. Then you do have SharePoint and OneDrive. So I'm not remembering that we had OneDrive there. That might be new, but SharePoint was definitely there. Then you do have also Dataverse in that case, which is Fabric. And you see already with the coming soon, the Microsoft Fabric will also be integrated as well. So you can also add existing knowledge. So from other Copilots. So if I click on this one, let me see if I can find something. So previously, here we go. So that learn one, that was in my Enhanced Copilot Studio. And now it has been added here as a source. So the idea is then that if you have different Copilots, that you don't have only one source. But let me rephrase that. So the idea is that you have one main area where you put in your sources where all your Copilots can leverage that. You don't need to add that additionally everywhere. So for example, if I want to use that for languages and add something with Microsoft Learn, and maybe I need to add it here and add it here as well. So if you have your source, then it's much easier for the handling of that. And I think this is really, really great. In that case, let me just go to overview. And then you just see everything else. So with the topics. And then you don't see much more of a change there, I would say, in that case. What is interesting is you do have now your other Copilots. You finally can see this, so you can have a better access to the Copilots here. So Copilot for Sales will, for example, not work because I haven't really integrated that into that environment. But you can see Copilot for Microsoft 365, and you see all the actions. And all that kind of actions, you can see that as well in the other area, which is called the library. Let me click on the library. And then you see all the other actions which been there. This is, where you add this. It can be a connector, it can be a custom connector, it can be a skill, it can be a flow, it can be Dataverse. And everything now you will just find in here and can make use out of that. And you can click and manage that from here as well. If I just return back to my Copilot, and come back to my coming soon, what you see as well is, Copilot for Finance is currently in preview. And it will also then come into GA, I guess, somewhere in September or October. And then you will also have access to this as well. And Copilot in SharePoint is also being integrated. So if you have other Copilots in the future to manage, then you would see them here as well. So you have your custom Copilots in here. And you have the Microsoft Copilots, the Copilots for sales, service, and so on. So service currently is not here, but if you go back to the library, then you see that there's also a connector for this, a Copilot for service in that case. And we're also curious about how this will be integrated then in the future. Last but not least, if you click on the 3 dots, you see then everything for the Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, Power Pages, Power Platform Admin Center. You see also that learn more about the AI integrations. So that is something you have also as tiles, but if you just go back to your Copilots, Let me just go back to my Copilot in that case and go to settings. And then you also have seen this there as well with the AI integration tools. So this is not really a change. So you don't see so much here. In that case, you just only jump off to the other areas in the Power Platform. So let me just go back for a moment. And we see then in that case, here, if you click on Extend Copilot, you do have your AI plugins and your conversational plugins in that case. So if I just click on the plus button here, and I've just create now a new Copilot, let's see, then you also have that kind of Copilot builder, which is cool. So you just use the Copilot builder and you just type in some sentences and it just builds you something. If you say, I want to do the HR onboarding chatbot, for example. Let's see what comes out. Great. How your Copilot will assist want to include here? Give me an example. Let's see what Copilot will just suggest me in that case. Yeah. Yes. Perfect. Do you have any instruction for how I should assist? For example, specific tone? Professional? Professional. I'm pretty sure I've just forgot one S. You might forgive me. And where should I? Please provide any public. Not now. That's it. Good. I'm done. And you see now, it just has created me easily a Copilot. I can already test this one here and I click on create and it will just set up me a Copilot then in that case. And has called it a customer service assistant. But just make it bigger. Then we see this, everything's been loading. Then you will see a topic which has been then created, most probably, or have been just set into the conversational start. But I haven't set really a source where generative answers can then help me and do this one. So I just wanted to see how that works. It works quite smooth if you ask me. But we will also deep dive into this in the upcoming weeks much more. So that shall it be for the moment as a comparison. So hopefully this will also help you to understand how all the Copilots are working, how Copilot Studio is working, in that case with the new UI. And we will do much more with that and test out how good the new UI works. So thank you very much for your time and I wish you a fantastic day. Bye.